Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribrajacharya Stukta Sutta Sri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki. My mind. Antakoti Vaishnavrinda Ki. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya Ki. Brihad Mridanga Ki. Goda Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Hare Krishna. So, my understanding is I just read the summary and there's no verse that we do together, or is there one verse we do together? Okay. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gauda Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, so the first verse I'm going to read will be text 7. So we're reading Adi Leela chapter 3, starting with the summary. In this chapter, the author has fully discussed the reason for the descent of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, after displaying his pastimes as Lord Krishna, thought it wise to make his advent in the form of a devotee to explain personally the transcendental mellow reciprocations of service and love between himself and his servants, friends, parents, and fiancés. According to the Vedic literature, the foremost occupational duty for humanity in this age of Kali is Nam Sankirtan, or congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. The incarnation for this age especially preaches this process, but only Krishna himself can explain the confidential loving service performed in the 4 principal varieties of loving affairs between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Lord Krishna, therefore, personally appeared with his plenary portions as Lord Chaitanya. As stated in this chapter, only for that purpose did Lord Krishna appear personally in Navadvip in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishnadas Kaviraj has herein presented much authentic evidence from Srimad-Bhagavatam and other scriptures to substantiate the identity of Lord Chaitanya with Sri Krishna himself. He has described bodily symptoms in Lord Chaitanya that are visible only in the person of the Supreme Lord. And he has proved that Lord Chaitanya appeared with his personal associates like Sri Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other devotees to preach the special significance of chanting Hare Krishna. The appearance of Lord Chaitanya is both significant and confidential. He can be appreciated only by pure devotees and only through the process of devotional service. The Lord tried to conceal his identity as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by representing himself as a devotee. But his pure devotees can recognize him by his special features. The Vedas and Puranas foretell the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, but still he is sometimes called significantly the concealed descent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Advaita Acharya was a contemporary of Lord Chaitanya's father. He felt sorry for the condition of the world because even after Lord Krishna's appearance, no one had interest in devotional service to Krishna. This forgetfulness was so overwhelming that Advaita Prabhu was convinced that no one but Lord Krishna himself could enlighten people about devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Therefore, Advaita requested Lord Krishna to appear as Lord Chaitanya. Offering tulsi leaves and Ganges water, he cried for the Lord's appearance. The Lord, being satisfied by his pure devotees, descends to satisfy them. As such, being pleased by Advaita Acharya, Lord Chaitanya appeared. Om Jnana Timarantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapatang Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupang Sagrajatang Sahagana Raganatan Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitang Savadhutam Padijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitangscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakopa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I'd just like to start by seeking the blessings of all the devotees, that I can speak something enlivening and in line with the Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta as passed down to us by Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So the first verse I wanted to read is verse 7. Simple verse. Sheshalilai Hare Nama Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Krishna Janaye Sabha Vishva Kaila Dhanya. Oh, this is the wrong verse. Sorry. 7. Satya Treta Dwapara Kali Chari Yuga Jani Se Chari Yuga Divya Eka Yuga Mani. We know that there are 4 ages, yugas, namely Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. These 4 together comprise one Divya Yuga. So there are 4 ages in the Vedic conception. There are other conceptions of time and the ages, but we find in Srimad-Bhagavatam and in Srila Prabhupada's books, he gives us an alternative view for everything that there's a view for in the secular scientific paradigm. All the way down to how to measure time in Srimad-Bhagavatam is there. So there's this greater measurements of time, these 4 ages. Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And these ages are characterized in different ways. One thing is they have different spans of time. Satya Yuga is roughly 1,800,000 years. Treta, 1,200,000, roughly. Dwapara, 800,000. Kali, roughly 400,000 years long. And they're characterized by different religious qualities, goodness. Here, I have this verse from Srimad-Bhagavatam. This is 12.3.18 translation. Shukadeva Goswami said, "My dear king, in the beginning, during Satya Yuga, the age of truth, religion is present with all 4 of its legs intact and is carefully maintained by the people of that age. These 4 legs of powerful religion are truthfulness, mercy, austerity, and charity." Charity. So, with each age, one of these legs reduces by 1/4. One leg is chopped off every age. So, in Satya Yuga, you have all 4 legs: truthfulness, mercy, austerity, and charity. Then in Treta Yuga, one is removed, and like that, all the way down to Kali Yuga, only one is left. So, for each age, there is it's called Yuga Dharma, or practical application or religion for the age. There's a practical application for God realization for each age. In Satya Yuga, it's meditation. Treta Yuga, it's sacrifices. Dwapara Yuga, it's deity worship. And in Kali Yuga, it is described in verse 40 of this chapter. Kali Yuga Yuga Dharma Namara Prachara Tatilagi Pitavarna Chaitanya Vatara. The religious practice for the age of Kali is to broadcast the glories of the holy name. Only for this purpose has the Lord in a yellow color descended as Lord Chaitanya. And I'll just read from Prabhupada's purport. In this age of Kali, the practical system of religion for everyone is the chanting of the name of Godhead. This was introduced in this age by Lord Chaitanya. Bhakti Yoga actually begins with the chanting of the holy name, as confirmed by Madhvacharya in his commentary on the Mundaka Upanishad. He quotes this verse from the Narayana Sanghita, Dwapariyar Janar Vishnu, Pancharatraistu Kevalai Kalotu Namamatrena Pujite Bhagavan Hari. In the Dwapara Yuga, people should worship Lord Vishnu only by the regulative principles of the Narada Pancharatra and other such authorized books. In the age of Kali, however, people should simply chant the holy names of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Hare Krishna mantra is specifically mentioned in many Upanishads, such as the Kali Santarana Upanishad, wherein it is said, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti sadasakam nam Kali kalmasanasanam, nataparattaropaya sarva vedeshu drishyate. After searching through all the Vedic literature, one cannot find a method of religion more sublime for this age than the chanting of Hare Krishna. And so, I was remembering that verse in Bhagavatam. It's in the first canto, in the first chapter. It's the 10th verse, where the residents of Kali Yuga are being described. And, Manda Sumanda Mataya Manda Bhagya Hupadrutaha. The men of this age of Kali are lazy, unintelligent, misguided, and above all, always disturbed. And so, these are some of the effects of this age of Kali, which is also known as the Iron Age. You have golden, silver, copper, and iron ages, the Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. So in the Iron Age of Kali Yuga, which is also known as the Age of Quarrel, these are the circumstances. As the legs of religion are reducing, then also our intelligence is becoming duller. In the past, people didn't need books. They could just remember everything that they heard. They would hear by oral reception from their spiritual master and remember everything. But today, hardly anybody can do that. We have to have books to constantly remind us, because our memory is so weak and our intelligence is becoming more and more dull, generally speaking. And so this is the situation in Kali Yuga. And there's one verse from Bhagavad Gita I wanted to read. It's chapter 13, text 26. Nice verse. Anye tvevam ajananta shrutvanebhya upasate tepi chatitarantyeva mrityum shruti parayanaha. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. I really like this verse and this purport, because Prabhupada says that this verse is particularly applicable to modern society, because in modern society there is practically no education in spiritual matters. Some of the people may appear to be atheistic or agnostic or philosophical, but actually there is no knowledge of philosophy. As for the common man, if he is a good soul, then there is a chance for advancement by hearing. This hearing process is very important. Lord Chaitanya, who preached Krishna consciousness in the modern world, gave great stress to hearing, because if the common man simply hears from authoritative sources, he can progress, especially, according to Lord Chaitanya, if he hears the transcendental vibration, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It is stated, therefore, that all men should take advantage of hearing from realized souls and gradually become able to understand everything. So I like that verse and purport just because Prabhupada says it's particularly applicable to modern society. And so if there's a starting point, he's telling us there. It starts with hearing. And so there's another verse I wanted to share. It's text 52, I mean. Quote, in the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. So, like we heard in the summary, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is substantiating what he's saying, that Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, by quoting different references from Shastra and mainly from Srimad-Bhagavatam. And so, right along with the verse we just heard from Bhagavad Gita, I thought I would point something out, how he says, or this verse is saying, he is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. And I read that and I thought, what does he mean by weapons? And in text 73, he says, thus the Lord is equipped with sharp weapons in the forms of his parts and plenary portions. All these weapons are competent enough to crush the faithless atheists. And this verse, I believe, is going to give us some insight into that other verse from Bhagavad Gita, how and why, just by hearing from authoritative sources, one can transcend material life. Purport. The word Pashanda is very significant here. One who compares the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the demigods is known as Pashanda. Pashandas try to bring the Supreme Lord down to a mundane level. Sometimes they create their own imaginary God or accept an ordinary person as God and advertise him as equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are so foolish that they present someone as the next incarnation of Lord Chaitanya or Krishna, although his activities are all contradictory to those of a genuine incarnation. And thus they fool the innocent public. One who is intelligent and who studies the characteristics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with reference to the Vedic context cannot be bewildered by the Pashandas. And there's a nice one thing I just want to share. he says, miscreants always want to deny the Supreme Personality of Godhead and put stumbling blocks in the path of devotional service. The Lord sends his bona fide representatives and appears himself to curb this nonsense. So, what we're hearing is the external reasons for Lord Chaitanya's appearance. And, we hear a little bit in Bhagavad Gita, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata, when and where and why the Lord comes in general, but specifically in this age of Kali Yuga, Lord Chaitanya appeared to curb, as Prabhupada said, this nonsense of different atheistic people misinterpreting and misguiding others in the path of self-realization, because that is the characteristic of Kali Yuga. That's just how it is in Kali Yuga. So Lord Chaitanya comes and preaches to chant Hare Krishna congregationally. Are there any comments at this point? Or okay.
Haribo, thank you, bro. When you were mentioning about the qualities of the human beings in Kali Yuga, that they're easily disturbed and no intelligence, lazy, and the importance of the holy name is now. So it reminds me one time when I met this young man, and I was trying to give him a book, and he said, you're just one of those, like any other preacher, who wants to lecture me for a long time. I don't have any time, but if you want to give me a message, I want you to be really quick. And I thought, okay, here he goes. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And he just looked at me. Is that all? I said, that's it, that's all you need. And then he was like, and then just another little thing also, how important the holy name is in this Kali Yuga. One time, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Suraji Prabhu, who was inviting us, sometimes he couldn't go to some events, to the yoga group, so we will go instead. And there were this interfaith, and there was a big panel, and everybody's exposing their philosophy, and I was kind of thinking, well, no one is representing us to go and chant, to speak. But then I realized, well, we are going to chant the holy name. And this is like the conclusion. And so actually after they finished, they asked us to sing. And I could see, like the mood, how after they philosophize or they say whatever they wanted to say, it was like a harmony, like, they come down, they were tapping, they were swinging, moving. So the holy name is so powerful. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, that also reminds me that this process of chanting Hare Krishna that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives is joyfully performed. It's fun. It's fun to chant Hare Krishna. I was remembering one time in Denver, there was a big mental health expo, and this other brahmachari and myself were invited to go there, and it was like sort of an interfaith thing where they had a table with people from different faiths and a big crowd, and they were going and asking a question and hearing from each person their answer to the question. And I just noticed how it seemed to me that the mood of the other preachers from the different faiths was very much like they were really seriously trying to convince people of that their path is good or the best or something, and it was really they were really seriously trying, and it was very serious. And I thought, actually, I'm gonna just be a little light-hearted. I'm just more like, just fun, have fun with it. And it turned out to be so ecstatic because there was a question they asked of, can you tell us some misconceptions that people have about your practice? And I was thinking, I can't really think of any, really. But then I thought about Ted Patrick's and what do they call him? Whatever. Yeah, deprogram, yeah. So I thought about that, and then I remembered Prabhupada said, how people think that, the Hare Krishnas are brainwashing people. And I wasn't thinking I was at a mental health expo. I forgot all about that. But then I gave that quote where Prabhupada said, if you ask us, people need their brains washed. And I said that, and everybody just gave a standing ovation. And I didn't, it wasn't intentional, it just kind of happened. And you could just see how, the devotees, I was there with other devotees, you can see that there's a flavor and a taste in chanting Hare Krishna that you just can't get anywhere else. And so blissful, this process. And this is also one reason why it's so practical for this time, because it gives that taste. So, thank you for sharing, Prabhu. Is there anything else anyone would like to share? I'll just share one more story if I could. Book distribution story. I was at the 16th Street Mall in Denver, and I came across this guy, and I was showing him Prabhupada's books, and he was telling me that he didn't need that. He was very powerful, and he told me I can make it rain whenever I want. I said, really? I said, can you do that? And it was a very sunny day, perfectly sunny day. I said, I would love to see that. And he said, okay, I'll do it. I said, oh, awesome. So he basically started doing stuff like this, and I was standing there for a minute, and nothing was happening. And I asked him, how long does it take? And he said, oh, it'll happen eventually. And, it was just... Yeah, postage check. And Prabhupada said, it's bona fide if somebody is claiming to be God, you can ask them, please, can you show me your universal form? And they can't do it. So this is just nonsense. This is what Lord Chaitanya has come to curb this kind of thing and give the practical chanting of Hare Krishna, which is something you can taste and experience right now, just chanting. And so, it's just appreciating that. Yes, Prabhu?
I don't want to just lord it over in this, but if you allow me, I'll make another comment. In regards to the holy name, this is a beautiful story that I always remember, and I tell the devotees how powerful the holy name acted in a situation in which there's no hope. No one could do it. So this happened in Mexico City. There were big gangs trying to, fighting each other. There was one group that side, another group this side. They were messaging, texting through the emails. We're going to meet in such and such place, and they're going to beat up each other. So there was probably, like they say in the news, 500 one side, 400 on the other side. And they were trying to convince them, please don't do that. Your family, yourself, you're going to get hurt. It's going to bring a lot of problems. They will not listen. So finally they arrived to the spot where they make an appointment to meet. So then the police was there, some social workers were there, and they were trying to convince them. Nothing happened. And suddenly, tin, 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 Hare Krishna, tin, tin, tin. They went right in the middle. It was like a big plaza in Mexico City, right in the middle. And everybody just the atmosphere, the environment changed completely. And then after that, it was dispersed. No one can explain. So the media and the television, they were putting in there for like 2 or 3 days that what others couldn't do, the Hare Krishna mantra did it. That happened in Mexico. And so then I was curious, so like maybe 2 years later, I went to Mexico for the Ratha Yatra, and I was talking to this particular devotee. He actually was here in this temple. I said, Prabhu, can you tell me more about that time when the holy name really came out as a sunshine, bright as a sunshine, and dispel all the darkness of ignorance? He said, well, my question was, did you actually premeditate it and you make arrangements, we're going to go there and we're going to, chant the holy name? He said, actually, Prabhu, no. Because he went to the Harinam. He said, what happens is that we usually have a different spot where we go for chanting. But this particular time we were not as many. So we just decided, okay, we're going to try that other spot. So it was not premeditated, it was arranged, so we just went there, and then suddenly, we just started chanting. And then we saw a lot of people and things going on. We just kept chanting. And then it's like miracle happened. So what you were just mentioned is so beautiful, the reading of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And actually that reminds me of a verse from the Srimad-Bhagavatam. Etavan eva lokesmin punsa dharma parasmriti. Bhakti Yoga Bhagavati Tang Nama Grahana Divi. He says that in this particular Kali Yuga, the principle, the main religion is the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Haribo.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhu. Bhagavati Prabhu has something.
I can't remember the details well enough to retell the story, but I remember hearing a very similar story from Amarendra about. Practically, I thought I was listening to Satchidananda tell Amarendra's story. Same thing happened here someplace in the United States, and I remember one day he was telling me that story. So, Kansas State Riot. There you go. So it wasn't a one-off. It's been other times when that same sort of thing happened.
Mm-hmm. So I'll just say, Agnidev Prabhu.
I told this little story, tidbit of Prabhupada last night, that when Prabhupada was asked by one reporter, what do your followers do for recreation? Because he had heard, your followers don't go to the movies, they don't do this, they don't do that. And Prabhupada said, what do we do for recreation? He said, everything we do is recreational. And he said, because it is Kevala Ananda Kanda. It is a joyful process, chanting, dancing, and taking prasadam. We in the mornings we always say how the Maha Mantra is not, we shouldn't take it, compare it to what you call karma kanda, right? It is not one of the ritualistic things mentioned in the Vedas. So it is not karma kanda, but is ananda kanda. Kevala, only the ananda kanda. So, Haribo.
Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpa Durvischa Kripa Sandhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki